Hi, my name's Keith and I'm known as the Florida Stone Man. And today I'm going to be talking to you all about the power of the voice. Oh, this is a special video. If you're new to my channel, then welcome. This topic has popped up very recently as to, I've been really studying the effects of the voice, and I've been studying with different celebrities and how they speak and how they actually speak, how people can speak and how they can actually speak, how when you actually speak, how it can actually attract people and repel people to you. So the power of your voice is very major, it's very big, and people don't have enough focus on their voice to be able to project it properly. Not everyone does. A lot of people do, a lot of people don't. But this video will be talking to you all about how you can use your voice to change your environment, how you can use your voice to change situations, how to just completely just destroy the room of negative energy simply by using your voice. And yes, it's possible. I'm going to teach you a few scenarios. You can cleanse a room with your voice, and it sounds wild and it sounds nuts and it sounds crazy, but if you have a stern voice in getting an entity out of a room, that entity won't be in that room anymore because they know you by your voice, and they won't even show up when you're around. But let me talk about this for a second. This is really important to talk about. Your voice is basically perceived in people's throat chakras and their ear chakras. Have you ever heard it when someone talked and you can kind of feel it in your teeth? For the people who can hear angels, just the way angels speak and the way that angels talk is on a certain frequency, and sometimes it can bother your teeth. It sounds freaky, but if you ring a pitch bell, the pitch bell can sometimes bother your teeth sometimes or make it kind of sensitive, because that's just the frequency and that's just your teeth receiving it, because your teeth are part of you. They're literally extensions of you. Now, where am I going to go with this video? This is super interesting because sometimes you're either attracting certain situations or you're pushing certain situations or people away just on your voice alone. This is very interesting, and if you know this, I'm going to use Michael Jackson as an example because Michael Jackson is wonderful, and I'm not going to talk about too many other celebrities in this video, but he had different voices. He had his singing voice, he had his talking voice, he had a voice others people said that was his regular voice, etc., but the most notable thing about him was his voice. And your voice will always be remembered. When someone thinks of you, they'll hear your voice in their subconscious mind, in the bank of their mind, and it will echo. You can change your voice so that it's more enchanting. If you're a public speaker, if you're a teacher, if you're someone who talking to people, your voice is very important. Even my voice is very important for you guys to hear. What kind of voice do I have? More of a relatable one. It's not because there are some people who are teachers that are like, I'm the better one than you. No, I'm relatable. I'm human with you guys. Okay, so if you're watching my video and you're a human, congratulations. But as a teacher, we have to humble ourselves to realizing that we don't know everything, and that's how we're able to learn more and help other people. Okay, so the voice of myself is to be more relatable. I'm one of you. That's it. But when it comes to a singer, what about the voice of a singer? They have to be memorable. They have to be different and unique, because what happens when you hear a singer and they're just like, oh, they're like everyone else. They don't get remembered. No one really cares about a singer that no one can really remember because there's about 1 billion of them. For the people who are watching this video and you're a singer, if you have just something unique about your voice, it's how you're more often able to be remembered. I know for a fact a lot of these, a lot of people who are out there have someone do some kind of some special kind of something for your voice, which I'll teach you how to do for yourselves. One way you can enchant your voice is because people do have, I can't say certain celebrities' names, but certain celebrities or singers or etc. will have their voice enchanted for them. Usually they have someone else doing it, but you can do it yourself with a crystal such as Chrysocolla. Chrysocolla is amazing. I have Chrysocolla on my arm somewhere, but it changes your voice so that it's memorable. If you're trying to help someone, it helps them remember your voice so that when they're in trouble, for example, if you guys are in trouble, and maybe Florida Stone Man's YouTube commentary or TikTok commentary, specifically on my videos, it'll pop into your head because it's memorable. It's something that's going to be applied and it's going to be helping you. So let's just say you are in a conversation with someone and maybe it's an interview for you. So your voice will be the most memorable when you wear a crystal such as chrysocolla. Chrysocolla. It's spelled chrysocolla. I'll put a link in the description, but you can get it from floridastoneman.com. It's the crystal of enchanting your voice. There's other crystals as well for enchanting your voice, but your voice is literally everything. No one takes the time to realize, like, what kind of voice do I have? Because sometimes some people actually need to soften their voice because it's too strong. So you have to pay attention to everything is frequency. Everything is frequency. So some of the people you have around you might be attracted to you simply by your voice. That might have been how you guys met. Now some of you might have pushed away a relationship from yourself because of the way that you speak. You ever hear some people have knives like tongues and they're able to just like, ouch, what the? So with the words in combination with your voice, because this video is more about the voice than the words. I've talked about the words several times and I'll talk about it again in the future. But this video in particular is talking about projecting your voice. Now, some people feel like they lack a voice. Like some people are very soft and very timid and very mild. And that can be fine and that can be a good thing. It's like there's nothing wrong with that. But in situations where you need to project your voice more to be heard, sometimes, for example, if you're at an interview and you're talking like this and that's just how you talk because you're a nice and sweet person, like the interviewer is going to be like, maybe that's not a nice person. So you need to project your voice. If you ever project your voice at any kind of person at an interview, etc., they're not used to being talked like that, and you're gonna be stuck in their head. You might as well be interviewing them because you can flip an interview like that. A very long time ago, at certain interviews, I would turn the interview around and be like, "Okay, you tell me about your experience." And the interviewer's like, my family used to do this, and that. And I'm like, well, the roles have changed, but. The thing is, with your voice, you can fully bust someone on a lie. You can hear in someone's voice when they're lying. You can tell which chakras of a person is off by their voice. You can tell if their root chakra is off. You can tell if their sacral chakra is off. You can tell if someone's solar plexus chakra is off. You can tell if someone's throat, third eye, or crown. Specifically with voice, it depends on what they're saying plus their voice. So it sounds really trippy, and you really have to start thinking about it. You'll be like, if you're to close your eyes and hear someone talk, I just messed my eyebrow up. If you're to close your eyes and just to hear someone talk, so close your eyes right now and hear the way I talk. If you could draw a voice on how my frequency is going in my voice, how is the frequency in my voice occurring? So when you're talking to someone in a conversation out in public, you can kind of measure people's voices. It sounds completely abstract and weird, but I'm not going to teach you anything you already know or anything that's not going to be already helping you, even if you know this. But if you can just draw someone's voice in your third eye, you can track where the energy is coming from. What do I mean by that? So if someone's voice goes up, 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 down, so I'm talking like this. You can kind of draw it if you get what I mean. So if I'm talking like this, then I'm talking down like this. Certain people will not want to be around you if you're always talking like this. They're going to associate you with something very negative. They're going to associate you with a Debbie Downer, and you're going to attract energy vampires. You'll attract more people like this, and you'll have more people around you who are just not in a good mood. Or, how's your day going? My day is going awesome. My day is going amazing. So, I hope you get the trend. You can measure a voice, and the frequency is actually what you're going to be attracting to immediately in regards to people, in regards to opportunities, as to what you attract and push. So, the higher frequency, and you can actually trick yourself into a higher frequency just by putting off a higher voice. Not necessarily a louder voice, but a more optimistic voice. So add optimism to your voice. So add more euphemism, any kind of just excitement to the voice, because you'll have more people who want to be around you just by the way you're speaking, just by the way you're talking. So if you guys can get just start playing with the way you hear people's voices. Sometimes people are not feeling good or not feeling themselves, and you can just tell by their voice alone. Everything we say in our mind goes to our voice, into our words. So I would like you to take your fingers right now. Take 3 fingers, 2 like this and 2 like this, and then grab your vocal box and go do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So when you do that, you can feel the vibrations of a voice just by it being said. Now, how is this going to help you? Once you get good at the art of reading voices, nothing can fool you. Nothing anyone can says. You can tell when someone's setting an energy trap. You can tell, and when you have this ability, don't tell people you know, or they're going to change the way they talk. But you can catch people who have been lying behind your back simply by their voice. So it's all about patterns. So you'll notice people who are lying, they'll start, and you'll just notice a frequency. Certain people in particular, for example, and don't tell them you know this, when they lie, they have a pattern of lying. Their voice will go like this. You can try it with certain family members or children, because children do lie. Children lie very innocently, but they do it because they're still learning the world, which is a good and a bad thing, but as long as they don't continue lying. Now, when it comes to your voice, just get in the habit of measuring it, because this video won't explain to you about how everyone's voices works. Everyone has a different voice and everyone projects it differently, and everyone's receiving their voice differently. Other people's voices differently. But when it comes to voices, start becoming more conscious of voices and you'll be able to read people on voice alone. You'll be able to find when people are dishonest just by their voice. You can tell when someone's getting stern with you just by their voice. I have a certain voice with certain people when they don't seem to understand something and they're becoming their own worst enemy. I'll be like, hey, chill out. And they'll be like, and that's exactly how you can actually wake someone up. It's not by yelling at them, because yelling is very different than talking sternly. Talking sternly is basically you kind of like when a pufferfish is like puffing its quills, what do you call it? The spikes, barbs. Pufferfish and feathers. Don't quote me on that later, but when a pufferfish puffers, I don't know what the technical name for pufferfish is. When a pufferfish just expands its... That wasn't a good example. When a pufferfish gets bigger, they're putting off a certain energy and they're putting off a certain frequency. But when it comes to that pufferfish trying to establish, like, hey, this is enough, that's okay. But when the pufferfish does it too much, and then to the point where it's not... the pufferfish wasn't a great example. Let's use another example, like a cornered cat. So when a cornered cat will go... So you'll hear that in conversations with people, so you'll be able to tell who's bluffing in a conversation, because their voice will go up and down. It's just patterns that you guys have to get used to. So you'll hear people's voice go up, and then down, then up, then down, then up, then down, and you're just like, okay, there's a frequency, and then that person's about to get very aggressive. You'll hear it in their voice a few seconds before they get really aggressive. So in that point, just study people's voices and you'll start to notice trends. You will be better than any tarot card reader just by being able to read voices. Now, if you're someone with a voice who's just a little bit too low, practice changing it to a higher frequency. If you find that and you have to look at, this is actually where certain zodiacs will come off to be more helpful. So if you know your zodiac, like, okay, if you're a fire sign and you're a little bit too much and you know it, it's okay. So start practicing the other aspects of your zodiac sign. So instead of being too much fire, try to contain it with your voice. So if your energy is just so strong and you walk into that room and people can feel you, be careful, because you can have too much fire. So put the fire into the right places and just be a little more balanced, because some people who you like to help or who you like to present yourself to can just be kind of scared off, because it's if you have a light about you, the light's going to shine too fast to someone who's receptive to it, and it can kind of run them off. Versus if you shine your light very brightly in a very inviting way, people are going to be like, okay, cool, this is refreshing. They can kind of calm down, and they'll go to you because you're putting off a frequency of light. Now, if you know something about you in your zodiac, in your personality, etc., because you can't blame your zodiac on everything about yourself, then project more. So if you don't have enough fire and you have a lot of air element and you're just always thinking stuff, or water element and you're feeling stuff, but it's never being communicated, add more fire. So there's a balance in everything. Okay? So practice when it comes to your zodiac sign. Or you can, and I use zodiac sign in this example because certain people just have a certain energy due to the zodiac sign about them. Some people, it's just their personality plus their zodiac. Sometimes it's just the personality, etc. But if you know that you have an energy that could just scare people off, or it's a lot, then practice being a little more subtle. So this is something I have to do as a teacher, because when it comes to teaching certain people, especially for people who are older, like people who are 60, 70, 80 learning from me, if I'm to say like, well, you have to do this, this, and that, they're gonna be like, well, I've been doing this for 70 or 80 years. And they'll have kind of like a wall up. They'll be like, well, versus, hey, and pay attention to my voice. I'd highly suggest, like, what you're doing, and your word plus your voice is everything. This is an equation, guys. So, because I help people who are in their 80s, and they're not always as receptive to help, because they've been getting help and advice from everyone else that doesn't work. So I'll be like, well, if you try this and you just add this to your diet, or you subtract this from who you let yourself around, you'll feel much better. I think what this will do for you is like, it'll just improve your life if you just take it a little bit slower, a little bit easier. So it's more able to be receptive by someone who's usually having their guard up, and it helps them more. So even if you're someone to help someone, you're not going to help. You're going to run them off if you just say, ah. So you have to know how to project your voice or be receptive to their voice, or how your voice is being received. Now, I did speak about how you can cleanse a room, how you can command your energy with your voice by getting rid of dark spirits or even demonic entities. No, I can't teach about this, but demons can be commanded. There are certain spiritual laws. You can command the demon, especially with the blood of Jesus. But when it comes to a demon alone, and this is how certain people who are demonologists command demons, if you're soft with them, and I'm not teaching demonology at all. That'll take you down a very, very, very dark path that you'll just kind of it won't be your path anymore. You're just being navigated because you're available in your energy. That's it. And then when you get into the afterlife with the demons who lied to you the entire time you're there, they're kind of like, oh, well, this thing was lying to me. Because demons lie their butts off. But angels, they move you closer to God. Well, demons will always try to move you closer to your ego and you being the most powerful person. But when it comes to a demonic entity, let alone a spirit, a regular spirit, if you say, hey, get out of here. I switched my octave too fast. And yes, practice, and my eyes are watering because I just switched way too fast. Drink a cup of water before you do that. So, like, hey, like, I have not used this voice in about 6 months. Okay. When it comes to that voice, and make sure you're practicing and just don't do what I just did because, okay, fine, since I've gone to that different octave, you can get scary with dark entities. Like, hey, get your energy out of my... And when you put off such a frequency of commanding, when it comes to a demonic entity, you can't be soft. You can't half do it. You have to go full in. And this part of the video might scare you because you'll see a different part of Stone Man. But when it comes to your voice, you can literally force a demon to leave. You can force a demon back to whoever conjured them. You can force about 100,000 spirits back to whoever has been calling them. And you have to do it with a commanding voice. You ready, guys? I don't like this part of the video, but this is to show you. For example, when you're cleansing the room, and you'll see people do this, you'll see priests do it. You'll see certain people's grandmas have done this, but you'll have to get in a tone of commanding. So if you have something aggressive in the house that you're trying to get something out of the house, you get your voice ready. Don't do it like I did it earlier, where I just like, oh, crap. Wait, oh. Get your voice into a specific mode, and then you can just cleanse the room with your voice. Here we go. Okay, I'm not going to do a whole full-fledged thing because I don't need to be scary, but you get your voice into this mode. Hey, for any dark entity, if you are not here, and my neighbor's going to start dialing buttons and stuff like that. If you mean bad business, if you are not here to help me, then you gotta go. and those things will get scared. For the people who can actually see spirits, the things start bouncing off the walls and shadows and orbs. So for the people who do encounter certain energies, and yeah, I'm putting this later in the video because this is more of a scary part of the video, you can project your voice and you can put energy in your voice to the point where you can literally grab an entity with your voice and send it out. So with that energy of commanding, you can get the worst of entities out simply by commanding. Some people who are the most gifted of people who don't have the voice will be stepped on by certain entities. So if you're suffering from dark entities that are stubborn and you can see them, confront it. Get into the mode. If you have to come up with a new voice, if you have to sharpen your voice, because I did it like a minute ago, and I'm like, ugh, I haven't used this voice in forever. But when you get into a voice where you're sending energy out through your voice, it scares even a medium level demonic entity. You say, get out of my house. If you're not here, then you gotta go. In the name of Jesus, get out of my house. You don't belong here. You have no business here. You're not here to help me. Now go. And the entities will not return. I don't mean to have scared anyone, but that's just a mode. It's, and certain angels can get very aggressive when removing dark entities, and I did leave that to this part of the video for the people who watch the entire part of the video. That's how you cleanse a room with your voice. That's the correct way to do it. It's not, hey, get out. It's like, hey, go! Get out right now! If you don't mean business, then get out! So it's basically, and I don't mean to scare people, it's not like no other video you'll ever see me talk like that, but with that voice and commanding, that moves a lot, okay? So sometimes for the people being run by entities, run by dark energies, when you tell them to leave, get out, they'll leave. A whole sea was parted simply by the voice and the projection of the voice, with the power of God behind you, with the power of Jesus, with the power of because other people, I know I have certain followers in other parts of the world who are like, how do I access that? I teach from Christianity, so that's mainly what I teach. But when it comes to projecting your voice, you can use the blood of Jesus to get a dark entity out, but you can't question it. So what do I mean by that? It's like, you can't be like, well, I want you to get out. Is that a question? It's like, get out! And they'll be laughing. If you don't say it right, versus if you get serious with it, and you send them out through fire, and the voice, and projection, and commanding your voice to clear a room, they'll move so fast, they'll find a different place to go. That's that. I hope that part of the video didn't scare you, but it's actually really important for people to know that. And let's just go back to the polar opposite of the video. If you find that, and you have to be really honest with yourself, even I have to do this. So when it comes to you teaching people who are stubborn, you being around people who are stubborn, and you have a point, or you have something, a truth you'd like to voice, etc., maybe, especially for people who are like artists and stuff like that, if you want to share your art with other people, and other people will be competitive, if you're around other competitive people, etc., sometimes you have to change the polarity of your voice. And be like, instead of like, hey, because how many of you guys know people, or your family, etc., and this works well with families who are very loud too, because some people are like, well, my entire family is loud, and ooh, this is really good. Oh, this one's really good. If you have an entire family that's loud, because a lot of people do, switch the tempo and like just kind of like take it down a notch, and like, so they're yelling on their own, and this really works. So just kind of like, hey, and this actually, since people have to kind of lean into your voice to kind of hear you when you take your voice down, you make it softer and you talk a little more quietly, people will be like, okay, what's she trying to say? This can work. If you do this correctly, this can work in your advantage, but people will be like, wait, what are they trying to say? Versus you trying to talk over them, and they're like, okay, this person's trying to talk over me. I'm not listening to them. Versus, okay, well, you could just, instead of her, I understand your point, but the thing is, if you try to apply it a little bit differently, I believe this will be very helpful for you. Like, if you just change this about yourself versus, hey, you gotta change this because no one likes that. The power of the voice is why you have everything around you now. Think about that. With one, there is so much to your voice. I can make a 30-minute video. So shall my word leave my mouth. It shall not return to me void, but it shall prosper as I send it. And everything I'm telling you in this video, when you send your voice out, or when you send your voice out, guys, you can have a giant impact on people in a very good way or in a very bad way. This is a really interesting video because this video will have people changing their voices. This is definitely a video that should be a lot longer than my other videos, especially because if you're able to read everyone's voice, you will be able to know everything they're going to say next. So just when someone walks up to you and they talk like, and because this might have to be a multiple part video because there's just so much to the voice. Who know that you could be reading voices better than people read tarot cards? You'll be able to, and when it comes to hearing angels' voices, it'll help you distinguish angels' voices between humans' voices and ancestors' voices, and then between demonic entities' voices, because even they have their own voices. A lot of angels who are the higher archangels will talk a lot deeper, like to the point where a human can't talk that deep. And some of the demons, they'll talk very nicely. They'll talk like children. They'll talk very funnily, and like certain guardian angels will talk in a way of light, but they'll also talk very seriously. So even to the point where it's opening your gifts and clairaudiently with your physical ears, hearing angels and other beings in the astral realm, you'll be able to know intention. So this is a longer video, but it's very important, especially for the people watching the whole thing. After you watch this video, I mean, when you apply, I would watch this video more than once. When you apply what I've taught in this video, you're going to be very shocked. Well, you're not going to be shocked, I hope not, but you're going to be very eye-opened as to how you can change your voice, and people will look at you as if you're a different person. And I've been experimenting with this myself because I'm very well projected, but I've been trying different voices recently. So even just when it comes to if you order coffee, for example, if you're in a restaurant, if you have a voice like this, like, hey, I'd like to get this, please, versus, okay, this voice is not working because the place is busy, versus they're going to get to you first because you've been nicer than everyone else. It just depends on your certain situation. It depends on where it applies, but I really hope this video cracked your mind open. If you have any questions, ask it in the comment section. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Ciao!